Hi all, this is Allmighty and welcome to this video. So today I have a suggestion from a subscriber. It is actually the first correspondence game which will be featured on this channel. It is a game between Lansing and Hart. So not much information about the two players, but I decided to show you this game because I think I didn't have a King's Gambit game on this channel, or at least in a while. So that is also fun because King's Gambit is one of the first openings I have been taught as a chess youngster, and also it features a very interesting line played in the King's Gambit, something that some of you who play it in Blitz or Bullet would be definitely interesting for you to see. And also the ending, it is a short game, and the ending resembles one of the most famous checkmates out there, a one from the Philidor's defense. So I will keep you in suspense till the end of the game. Maybe it reminds you as well of that, but it definitely reminded me. So let me just show you the game. We have e4, e5, and f4, as I said, King's Gambit. And of course, King's Gambit accepted. Definitely, when I saw this, I wanted to one reason more to show this game. Knight to f3 and g5. So staying in the main line, and now after bishop to c4, we see d6. But one fun line that black sometimes play, maybe usually, but sometimes, maybe not usually, but sometimes play is g4. And actually, I always thought that for some time now in the new era, that King's Gambit openings have somehow became extinct, so to speak. Not really played by strong players on the higher level, but when analyzing and researching for this game, I actually saw that Hikaru Nakamura played this variation in 2010 against a very strong chess grandmaster Dmitry Andreikin. And it usually goes as follows: castles, pawn captures, and queen captures on f3. And after that, white did give up a piece, but essentially he has a very strong attack on the f file after he captures f4 pawn, and then later on he will pile up on the f7 pawn. And Hikaru, with white pieces, went to win the game against around 100 elo points weaker opponent. So definitely something to go for in this opening, and yeah, it is a very fun one, as I've said, in the bullet or blitz. But we saw d6 here, but white continues with castles and bishop to g4. So usually how it is with correspondence games, it always takes a while to actually finish the game, but players have at least a lot of time to think about their moves. So here we have h3 and now h5 played by black. So a very interesting idea, also very common in the Ruy Lopez exchange variation, where the bishop comes on g4, and then after h3 you play h5. And the main reason is if this capture occurs, then the queen on h4 and the rook on h8 after the knight moves would be deadly on the h file. We in this game we see h captures on g4 and h captures on g4, and the knight moves. So essentially black is in a very dominant position here. As you can see, also after this move g3, 8 moves have passed, and black has only played with his pawns and his light square bishop, of course, in the which he gave up in the end. But essentially he has a much superior position here, having this very strong I wouldn't call it a pawn chain, because pawn chains usually go diagonally, but a pawn stronghold, also having doubled f pawns and double g pawns. Quite an interesting game, and this is why one of the reasons why I wanted to show you. Here now white has to do something about this king, because essentially if black plays g4 and after that queen to h4, it will be quite a difficult task to actually go out of this corner. So rook to f3 is played for the king to have an escape path like this, but this doesn't actually look that promising, but at least it is something. We see knight to d7 and now d4, so expanding in the center. Knight from g to f6 and knight to c3. So both of the players start to develop. And now actually black decides that now is the time to actually go for it. So to in a way open up the position, go for the attack, and he plays knight to g4 here. maybe not the best of options. Probably the best move here is to continue with bishop to g7, and then after that queen to e7 and king queenside castle, and then further on attack on the h file. But okay, knight to g4 is played, and here actually the best move is rook captures on f4, because after g captures on f4 and queen captures on g4, white all of a sudden, yeah, he gave up the piece back, so gave up the rook, and now he won the second piece, so he has two pieces for the rook, and he will definitely take this pawn and this pawn. So and on the other hand, black doesn't really have that much time to actually go for the attack here. Playing something like queen to f6, knight to f3 follows, and bishop to f4, bishop to g5 will stop queenside castle. So quite a good position here for white, but he didn't capture with the rook, he captured with the bishop on f4, which is also a good idea, but it leaves a hole in white's plan, because here pawn captures on f4, and you don't really have time to capture on f4, because there is this queen to h4 idea and cannot really go out of it this time. So if you go king f1 and knight to e3 comes with a check, and essentially you lose the rook and later even maybe a queen. So not a very good idea. But here once again black, and this is why I said that this will resemble one of the very famous checkmates in the Philidor's defense, kind of got greedy and played the knight to f2, and his thinking was, okay, so now I'm threatening rook to h1 checkmate, and I'm also threatening to capture a queen. So a very good threat, and essentially what it leads to is in black's thinking of winning of the game, because what will you do about it? But he missed one very important maneuver which white has. So essentially, in order to continue the game, you have to give up a queen, because there is no other way to continue. And here white plays bishop captures on g3. And now after knight captures on d1, there is actually a checkmate in 2. If you want, you can try and find it, but essentially, yeah, as I said, I have kind of helped you already two times mentioning it, and this is the third time. If you remind yourself of that famous checkmate from the Philidor's defense, you won't be having trouble finding it, because now white played bishop captures on f7, and king to e7 is the only move, and after that knight to d5 is checkmate. So a very quick miniature in 15 moves, not so common for the correspondence game, but it looked kind of nice, and I decided that in the end I wanted to show it to you. So okay, this is pretty much it for this video and this game. Once again, a reminder, as I said, this was a suggestion by a subscriber, so if some of you have some other games that you would maybe like me to cover or analyze, definitely post that in the comments down below, or you can just message me on my social media. That being said, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.